Hello and welcome to the M&M Show with me, Jules Middleton. It's nice to be back. I've had a month off for holidays, been away and back in the saddle today. And I thought after the news last week, I had to kick off the show with something from Aretha Franklin today. And for a show like this with an emphasis on faith, there is only one song that it could be.
When I wake up, before I put on my makeup, I say a little prayer for you. And while I'm combing my hair now, and wondering what dress to wear now, I say a little prayer for you. Forever, forever, you stay in my heart, and I will love you forever, ever, ever. I just take time, and all through my coffee break time, I say a little prayer for you. Forever, ever, ever, you stay in my heart, and I will love you forever, ever, ever. The part of how I love you together, together. That's how it must be to live without you. Would only mean heartbreak for me. No.
That was, of course, the amazing Aretha Franklin, who sadly died last week. But I thought we had to kick off the show with her and get a bit of Aretha in it before we get going. She was an amazing singer and had an amazing faith as well. I know she had a bit of a troubled life, but she was recognised as a fantastic gospel singer as well. So good to kick off with her today. Now, I've gone back this month to having a bit of a theme for the show. So our theme this month is sort of creation and art. It's a little bit loose, but around creation, art, that sort of thing. Because our local arts festival here in Lewes, say that carefully, our local arts festival here in Lewes, Art Wave, is now in full swing. And there's loads of open houses and exhibitions going on, including one at Trinity, which I will tell you a bit more about later on. So I've been trying to think of songs with a theme to do with art and creation. As quite often happens when we go on a theme, some of them are a little bit tenuous in their links, but this one definitely isn't, named after a very famous painting. So we've got a bit of crooning to lead into now.
Lisa, Mona Lisa, men have named you. You're so like the lady with a mystic smile. Is it only 'cause you're lonely they have blamed you for that Mona Lisa strangeness in your smile? Do you smile to tempt a lover, Mona Lisa? Or is this your way to hide a broken heart? Many dreams have been brought to your doorstep. They just lie there and they die there. Are you warm? Are you real, Mona Lisa? Are just a cold and lonely, lovely work of art. Do you smile to tempt a lover, Mona Lisa? Or is this your way to hide a broken heart? Many dreams have been brought to your doorstep. They just lie there and they die there. Are you warm? Are you real, Mona Lisa? Are just a cold and lonely, lovely work of art. Mona Lisa, Mona Lisa.
Oh, a lovely bit of Nat King Cole there. I do like a bit of a crooner every now and then. That sounds a bit wrong, doesn't it? But anyway, I really enjoyed that song. So, anyway, Art Wave. So we have an exhibition on at Trinity, and our exhibition is called On Communication. We've got 4 artists, 2 of whom are members of our congregation, 2 aren't, and they're all professional artists. And they've been thinking about this theme of communication in a spiritual sense, so looking at emotions, experience, the natural world, in different media, and they've all interpreted it in different ways. And we wanted a theme that we felt was actually accessible for everybody, whether they've got faith or from a different faith or none, but still with that kind of spiritual angle. And I think communication is such a key word for the 21st century as we think about what it means to communicate with each other, both in traditional forms, but also in all our new digital technology ways of communicating. So we thought that this theme would allow both artists and viewers to engage in the theme without being too kind of threatening in a way. And we wanted to give people the opportunity from the church angle, from the faith angle, thinking about communication with God as well. So we've got the art on display, but we've also got some interactive things that you can take part in if you want to, just to encourage people to think about prayer. So thinking about God as creator and about the creation around us, here is a song from a Christian artist called Indescribable.
From the highest of heights to the depths of the sea, creation's revealing your majesty. From the colors of fall to the fragrance of spring, every creature unique in the song lightning bolt where it should go. Or seen heavenly storehouses laden with snow. Who imagined the sun and gives source to its light, yet conceals it to bring us the coolness of night. None can fathom, indescribable, uncontainable. You place the stars in the sky and you know them by name. You are amazing, God. All powerful, untamable, awestruck we fall to our knees as we humbly proclaim. You are amazing, God. You are amazing, God. Indescribable, uncontainable. You place the stars in the sky and you know them by name. You are amazing, God. All powerful, untamable, awestruck we fall to our knees as we humbly proclaim. You are amazing, God. Indescribable, uncontainable. You place the stars in the sky and you know them by name. You are amazing, God. Incomparable, unchangeable. You see the depths of my heart and you love me the same. You are amazing, God. You are amazing, God.
There we go. That was Indescribable by Chris Tomlin. I do like it. It's all about creation, and I love that line where he's thinking about putting the stars in the sky. And I don't know whatever you feel about creation, whether you think the world was created in 7 days, or you believe in a Big Bang, or whatever. It doesn't really matter. For me, I feel closest to God in creation, I think, because I think you look at, well, I find anyway, look at all the detail and the way things work, and that's the thing that makes me think I can't not believe in God as a creator. So I like that song because it kind of thinks about that sort of sentiment. So going back to the art theme particularly, I'm trying to think of some more songs that related to art particularly. So this is an old classic from Don McLean, all about the life of Vincent van Gogh.
Starry, starry night, paint your palette blue and gray. Look out on a summer's day with eyes that know the darkness in my soul. Shadows on the hills, sketch the trees and the daffodils, catch the breeze and the winter chills in colors on the snowy linen land. Now I understand what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they did not know how. Perhaps they'll listen now. Starry, starry night, flaming flowers that brightly blaze, swirling clouds in violet haze, reflect in Vincent's eyes of china blue, colors changing hue. Morning fields of amber grain, weathered faces lined in pain, are soothed beneath the artist's loving hand. Now I understand what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they did not know how. Perhaps they'll listen now, for they could not love you, but still your love was true. And when no hope was left inside on that starry, starry night, you took your life as lovers often do. But I could have told you, Vincent, this world was never meant for one as beautiful as you. Starry, starry night, portraits hung in empty halls, frameless heads on nameless walls, with eyes that watch the world and can't forget, like the strangers that you've met, the ragged men in ragged clothes, a silver thorn, a bloody rose, lie crushed and broken on the virgin snow. Now I think I know what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they're not listening still. Perhaps they never
Okay, that was Don McLean there with a bit of Vincent, thinking about the life of Vincent van Gogh. And I was thinking about this and relating to our artists in the exhibition, and there's some lines in that song where he says, "Now I understand what you tried to say to me, how you suffered for your sanity, how you tried to set them free. They wouldn't listen, they did not know how. Perhaps they'll listen now." And it just feels like there's something in there about how an artist tries to convey something, a meaning or a sentiment in their work, and hopefully each piece communicates something of that to its viewers. And you know, in some artworks, I think it's easier to understand what the artist is saying. You know, like there was an exhibit in the Tate years ago, which is basically a line of bricks, and obviously that's a bit harder to see what the artist is saying, but. I interviewed some of our artists for our exhibition about their work and what it meant to them. So here's one of those first interviews. So I'm here with Julie Janvrin, who's a sculptor who's exhibiting in our exhibition. So Julie, why don't you tell us a bit about one of your pieces?
Well, I've got 5 pieces in the exhibition. 3 are very abstract, but when you first invited me to do something for it, and you gave me this theme, very general theme really, on communication in a spiritual sense, I very swiftly had 2 very sort of strong ideas of what I could do, and I think I remember saying to you, yes, I'll do it, but I may only put 2 figures in. And they're both really inspired by events in the life of Jesus Christ 2,000 years ago, but these are very modern tragedies. First of all, of course, there's been lots in the news about Syria and so on. My first feeling that I had to do was, I've called it Syrian Madonna, and it's a young girl with all her possessions on her back in an old rucksack, and she's carrying her child. And I just felt I had to do that one. And then the other one is called Hackney Pieta. And that was, actually my son lives in Hackney, but I know it happens. There's a lot of violence on the streets of London, and such terrible sorrow, of parents losing their young teenage children to mindless violence. So this is of a woman sitting on a pavement with her 14-year-old son in her arms after violence on a Hackney street. And they came very quickly. I did them very quickly. And artists always doubt themselves. By the time we got to the exhibition, I was thinking, this is not going to work, and this is, I haven't put across what I wanted to put across, and terrible doubts like we all have. But it was very reassuring, the sort of response that I got, and how I don't quite know how I wove this into your theme of communication. I think really I said that only the viewer can say what is being communicated, but I hoped that if these pieces made people stop and pause and wonder why these terrible things happen, then I think I said thank you. That is enough.
Yeah. They've done their work. I certainly found both of them really quite profound and moving, and I know you were expressing doubts, but when I first saw them finished and brought into the exhibition space, I just knew that they would speak to people, and I think they really have. And as you said, there was really good reaction and comments, and in fact they both sold within a day of the exhibition being open, which is really fantastic. And in fact you were donating the proceeds from those two sales to charities as well, aren't you?
Yes, for the Syrian Madonna, there's a charity called Samora's Aid that helps the refugees, and there's a wonderful Hackney charity that works with young people in Hackney that will benefit from the other one. So it's great.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for talking to me.
My pleasure.
So I really do think those sculptures, as I said in that interview, are really profound, and I'd love to encourage you to come and see them. I think they've really spoken to people who've seen them so far, of themes of sorrow and loss and love and hope. And yeah, I think she's really done her job of communicating that message.
You call me out upon the waters, the great unknown, where feet may fail. And there I find you in the mystery, in oceans deep, my faith will stand. My soul will rest in your embrace, for I am yours. You are mine. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith would be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith would be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon.
That was Oceans by Hillsong. Lovely, really lovely track. I think quite powerful, and also just thinking about something about the mystery of God, and like we don't all have the answers, but even in the unknown, I think that we can find faith even in the mystery. So, thinking about other tracks that lead us to think about artwork, this is another one, oldie from the from the wonderful Morrissey. I was getting a bit ahead of myself there. So here we go. Here's Morrissey.
I live the life, I feel the pain, to sing the song, to tell the tale. I wish I'd never even heard the song. I see the world, it makes me puke, but then I look at you and know that somewhere there's a someone who can soothe me. To me you are a work of art, and I would give you my heart. That's if I had one. I see the world, it makes me puke, but then I look at you and know that somewhere there's a someone who can soothe me. To me you are a work of art, and I would give you my heart. That's if I had one, had one.
There we go. That was a bit of Morrissey for us. I was just saying, I feel like maybe Morrissey's gets a bit of a bad press sometimes. I quite like his music, actually. I don't listen to it enough. Anyway, so we're thinking about creation, and so I used to be an artist. I used to paint and draw, and people used to say to me a lot of the time, "Oh, I'm not creative." But I think what they meant is I can't draw. Like, I can't draw an apple that looks like an apple, for example. But I actually think we're all creative, and from a faith perspective, I think if the Bible says that we're made in the image of God and God is a creator, then it makes sense that we all have kind of creativity within us. It's just that it plays out in different ways. So I suppose me being an artist, it's more a kind of obvious sense of that. But I think we're all creative in different ways. Ben, what about you? Do you think you're a creative person?
I have been, and I guess in many ways I still am. I used to draw a lot.
Well, there you go.
Cartooning mainly, but I can produce a portrait if I put my mind to it.
Yeah.
I like building things. I used to write songs. I've been a musician.
Yeah.
Now I limit myself to being creative with radio.
Oh, there you go. See, I think it's all comes from the same thing. It's all about how we use the creativity within us, and people use it in different ways. So I like to encourage people to say, you are creative, even if you don't think you're not. Although obviously what you said is in a more kind of traditional sense of like, certainly drawing and stuff like that, but writing songs and things like that, it's just a different avenue, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think you just have to give it a go. Don't be afraid of it. So many people that, I can't do that, but they've never tried.
Yeah, absolutely.
And everybody can come up with something. I've known poets who say they can't write songs.
Yeah,
so
then...
Well, hum a melody and put your poetry to it, you've got a song.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I say, nowadays it's mainly the radio. I'd see making radio shows as creativity.
Yeah.
Not just making my own show, but I help others create theirs. I produce for several people, like yourself. So it's in everybody. Yeah,
I totally agree. In fact, in our exhibition, one of the people who's exhibiting is a photographer. And that's another form of, expressing our creativity. And I interviewed her, Martina, and one of our other artists, Susie, at the private view of our exhibition last week. So let's see what they had to say. So I'm here with Susie and Martina at our Artwave private view, and I just wanted to ask you guys a few questions about your artwork. So let's start with what inspires you?
Definitely for me, it's being out in nature. It's about huge skies, big views, fleeting light, capturing a moment, maybe mist on a mountain, the silence, the bird call. It's all about getting closer to nature, really.
Amazing. What about you, Martina?
I think I'm slightly different, actually. I love people and I love watching people, but also I like to think, and maybe sometimes I overthink, but I think, yes, a lot of thinking goes into my work, and then I just start playing with it.
Cool. And so the theme of this exhibition is communication. So how have you brought that into your work?
For me, the idea is that I'm a teacher, and I see more and more and more, whilst educating children, that they're losing the ability to really appreciate their natural surroundings. So if you look at the work of the landscape writer now, you will see that there are loads of words being lost from the English dictionary, like otter, like blackberry, like fern. And the idea is to try and foster a new appreciation and try to keep these words still living and an appreciation of nature still living.
Yeah, I think that is so important. And I have to say, my daughter's sitting behind me. I noticed a bit of that even in my own children as well. What about you, Martina? Have you brought the theme into your work?
Well, I think that we communicate in so many more different ways than just words and speaking, and I think that's what I try and do with my work, is I communicate completely on a visual level, and I try and connect on an emotional level, completely bypassing words.
And you can see that in some of your work. Do you want to tell us about maybe one or two of the pieces you've got in the exhibition?
Yeah, so I've got one piece that's called Prodigal, and it's a fictional dance piece which is performed both by the camera but also by the person who's viewing the work. It's how I've hung and how I've printed the work means that you can't view it from just one distance. So you have to move and you have to bend and you have to walk in order to see it. And when you get to the end, you've actually performed the piece and you've interacted with it and you've brought your own expression to it.
So it really draws people into the piece rather than just viewing it. You are kind of drawn into it as well.
Yes, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Susie, what about you? Have you got a favourite piece or a piece you'd like to tell us about?
I think they're all favourite pieces, and every single one is another adventure. It can be skies that look like dragons. It can be much more peaceful sunrises with the mist coming in. It's all about peace and time for contemplation and time away. I'm a teacher, so my life is very busy with people as well, and I spend an awful lot of time nurturing people and their emotions and everything else. And for me, I suppose the landscape gives me a space to really escape and meditate, and that's what I try and capture in my work.
And as someone who owns one of your pieces, I totally think it does do that. Again, a bit like with Martini's, it kind of draws you in because there's so much in it and there's so much movement in it. You're kind of drawn into the piece to imagine yourself within it. Well, thank you very much, you two. I hope you have a lovely evening, and I hope the people enjoy the exhibition. Well, there we go. That was Susie and Martina there talking about some of their work at our private view last week. So do pop in and see the exhibition. It's open slightly complicated hours. It's all in the brochure and on our website, but basically it's open when our cafe is open. So Tuesday to Thursday, 10 till 4. Saturdays during the exhibition, and over the bank holiday weekend we're open Sunday afternoon and Monday as well. So it's slightly complicated, but it's all in there in the brochure. There's one more artist as well who's taking part, who I didn't manage to interview sadly, but Jo Marks, who is a figurative artist, and she does amazing line drawings using chalk and charcoal and things like that. And she talks about having a fascination with the human form, having studied life drawing and sculpture for years, and she says she's always looking for the perfect line, which says a lot with very little. And I think you can really see that in her work, that actually just using a few simple lines, she really expresses something. There's character that really comes through her work. So another artist to come and have a look at in the exhibition. I mean, I obviously I love all of them. I think their work is amazing. But do come and have a look when we're open. Right, one more song now to think about. The Art World. This is another oldie, actually, from Matt Monroe. And this one was suggested by Julie Janvrin, one of our artists, and it's called Portrait of My Love.
There could never be a portrait of my love, for nobody could paint a dream. You will never see a portrait of my love, for miracles are never seen. Anyone who sees her soon forgets the Mona Lisa. It would take, I know, a Michelangelo, and he would need the glow of dawn that paints the sky above, to try and paint a portrait of my love. It would take, I know, a Michelangelo, and he would need the glow of dawn that paints the sky above, to try and paint a portrait of my love.
artist Matt Munro for us there with a Portrait of My Love. A couple of other things to let you know about our Art Wave exhibition, which I am giving a big plug in this month's show, that we are actually running some workshops as well. So in fact, the first one I think will have finished by the time this show goes out, but the second one is next week. It's Tuesday, the 28th of August in the evening, and it's looking at prophetic art. So Martina, our photographer, and I are running that and helping us to explore creativity within the context of prayer, although it's open to everybody, whether you have faith or not, and whether you're experiencing art or not. And it's really about encouraging you to find different ways of contemplation, potentially to encounter God. And also, I love this line that Martina came up with, to break free from a corset of pre-prescribed form and expression. So we want you to kind of be able to express yourself. Art supplies are provided, but you can bring your own if you want to. Tea and coffee will be available as well. You do need to book in advance for that online. You can book through our website, which is trinitylewes.org/artwave. So another track now, thinking about God's creation. This is from a guy called Phil Wickham, and it is called Glory.
Standing in your strength, the oceans roaring out your praise. All creation glorifies your name. The angels bow before your throne. The heavens shine for you alone. All creation glorifies your name. All creation glorifies your name. Singing, holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty.
That was Glory by Phil Wickham. And continuing to think about the art theme now, I wanted to put this song in. It's Viva La Vida by Coldplay, and it's brilliant. And I never knew the story behind it, actually, but when I was looking at it, I found out that Chris Martin was inspired by a painting by an artist called Frida Kahlo, and apparently he said he was inspired by her perseverance in the face of polio and spinal injury and chronic pain, and he was interviewed by Rolling Stone magazine, and he said that she'd gone through a lot of pain, and then she started this big painting in her house, and it says Viva La Vida, and he just loved the boldness of it. And Viva La Vida is Spanish. It basically means live the life or live life. So I thought, well, that's a great sentiment, and it's a great song. I do love Coldplay. I just love their ability to create sort of anthemic songs. So let's listen to that now.
When I gave the word, now in the morning I sleep alone, sweep the streets I used to own. I used to roll the dice, feel the fear in my enemy's eyes. Listen as the crowd would sing. Now the old king is dead, long live the king. 1 minute I held the key, next the walls were closed on me, and I discovered that my castle stand upon pillars of salt and pillars of sand. I hear Jerusalem bells are ringing, Roman cavalry choirs are singing. Be my mirror, my sword and shield, my missionaries in a foreign field. For some reason I can't explain, once you've gone it was never an honest word. And that was when I ruled the world. It was the wicked and wild wind, blew down the doors to let me in, shattered windows and the sound of drums. People couldn't believe what I'd become, and revolutionaries wait for my head on a silver plate, just a puppet on a lonely string. Oh, who would ever want to be king? I hear Jerusalem bells are ringing, Roman cavalry choirs are singing. Be my mirror, my sword and shield.
Brilliant bit of Coldplay there. Great to have that on the show this morning. We were just talking about radio as well in the studio, and the kind of the beauty of radio. And I was listening to dare I mention Radio 1 yesterday, and they have a new DJ, Greg James, doing the breakfast show, and I was just saying how he started his show saying, you know, how much he loves radio and the beauty of radio, and how you can hear a song on the radio and it reminds you of a time in your life, or there's a time in your life when you know associate it with the song that you heard on the radio, and it's just such a cool thing, even in our era of all this technology and Spotify. You know, we use Spotify to put the shows together and iTunes and all that, and still it's a medium that people want to listen to and want to use. So it's great. It's so great to be here. I feel very privileged. Anyway, on that slightly gushing note, I'm going to finish up for the day. We do get in touch. As always, I'm up for track suggestions and conversations and everything else. So on Twitter, I'm at RedJules, and I'm on Facebook as well, and Instagram. You just give me a search and you'll find me. So we're going to finish up with another amazing artist who hit 60 last week, and she was the first album I ever bought was one of hers, Like a Virgin, an epic album, and it just really kind of defined that era of my youth. And I remember her film Desperately Seeking Susan had this amazing jacket, and I wanted that jacket so much. So it's amazing to think that she has hit 60, and it is of course Madonna. And on the theme of artwork continuing, this is Masterpiece.
If you were the Mona Lisa, you'd be hanging in the Louvre. Everyone would come to see you. You'd be impossible to move. It seems to me that's what you are, a rare and priceless work of art. You stay behind your velvet robe, but I will not renounce all hope. And I'm right by your side, like a thief in the night. I stand in front of a masterpiece, and I can't tell you why it hurts so much to be in love with a masterpiece. 'Cause after all, nothing's indestructible. From the moment I first saw you, all the darkness turned to white. An impressionistic painting, tiny particles of light. It seems to me that's what you like. The look, but please don't touch me tight. And honestly, it can't be fun to always be the chosen one. And I'm right by your side, like a thief in the night. I stand in front of a masterpiece, and I can't tell you why it hurts so much to be in love with a masterpiece. 'Cause after all, nothing's indestructible. Nothing's indestructible. Nothing's indestructible. Nothing's indestructible. And I'm right by your side, like a thief in the night. Stand in front of the masterpiece, and I can't tell you why it hurts so much to be in love with a masterpiece. And I'm right by your side, like a thief in the masterpiece, and I can't tell you why it hurts so much to be in love with a masterpiece. 'Cause after all, nothing's indestructible. 'Cause after all, nothing's indestructible.
Radio Lewes. Local webcasting for a worldwide audience.